Welcome to Urban Fantasy PH. We are creatives who live in an urban society and give readers wish fulfillment by way of our stories, which is fantasy but reflective of reality. Here, we get to talk to fellow creatives like writers, authors, artists, comic book creators, filmmakers, you name it. We create and share our art here in the Philippines as well as abroad. My name is CJ Edmunds, I'm your host, and here is today's episode. Good morning, fellow bookworms, fellow book hoarders, book lovers, and creatives. Happy Wednesday, a bright and happy Wednesday to you all. Today is episode 44 of the podcast, and this also marks the second of our Pride-centric episodes for this month of June. Happy Pride, everybody. Happy Pride. And like always, and during an ongoing season, the show is aired every Wednesday for both Spotify as well as on my YouTube channel, and you do have the option to listen or to watch us. And if in case you are listening to us for the first time or watching us for the first time, all of our past episodes are ready for you to listen to chronologically or just, skip to which episode that you feel has most resonance for you. And of course, we leave that choice in your hands. Whether you're listening or watching, do click the subscribe button and ring the bell so you do not miss a single episode. Okay? So our guest for today is she calls herself a tibo komikero, an author artist. Now, simply put, she loves writing about love. That is, love between families, between friends, or gay girls, both sweet, and some of them fraught, I hope not too much, as well as the joy of discovering oneself. That she always appreciates a story that can make you cry. Oh boy. Hopefully no crying today in this episode. Now, she has a BFA in visual communication from UP Diliman and has contributed cover art, interior art, as well as comic book work to over 20 art books and anthologies. Yeah, something to crow about. These would be including Fortuna Media's TABULA IDEM and Quindrie Press's When I Was Me. Her first graphic novella called EMMY and the Second Chance was exhibited as part of the ShortBox Comics Fair in 2022. Now, she's currently working on a to-be-announced graphic novel that's based here in the Philippines, that's within the fantasy genre, I believe. And we can ask her more about that. That is, if you don't mind, a little heads up or a little peek into what's keeping her busy these days. Now, we just love it when creatives give in to their muses and they keep creating. A warm welcome and a bright good morning to Miss Gillian Pascasio. Hello, Gillian.
Hi. Hello.
Good morning. Welcome to Urban
Morning.
Fantasy PH. Thank you for responding on Twitter, by the way. And we
Yeah.
went early. We went early this year during Comic Camp in Eton
Yep.
Centers.
Yeah.
And from a creative's point of view, and perhaps also as a consumer, does it ever get old for you when you see the hall, slowly filling up with people? Either just coming into a con like that for the first, or if not for for the nth time for them,
Mm,
because I think when it starts to get old, then it's maybe time to take a break from doing cons and do something else, right?
I'll be real. I'm already in the process of taking a break.
That's
I
okay.
I'll come back in like a few years when I'm like, oh, I miss going to cons. But right
Yeah.
now it's like, yeah. Right now I'm like, I'm probably going to Comic at Pride. I am going to Comic at Pride,
Okay.
obviously.
Yep. I will see you
And then
there as well.
after that, I'm gonna just focus on smaller events. I'm just a little tired out from lugging around all the big stuff.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. At least you have someone to lug the stuff around with you, or it's just really all you.
I have my family help me, of course, but
Okay,
but when
great,
I'm
great.
tabling, I'm usually on my own.
That's the most challenging thing about
Yeah,
if you have a table. I mean, how about when you want to go to the restroom, or when you buy your lunch for yourself? Like, who's gonna do that for you? Are you gonna ask the person beside you, say, "Pakitingin naman yung table ko, I'm just gonna go buy lunch or whatever." It's hard. It's hard.
yeah.
Diba? I know for those who have one, always go to cons and have just one table. The difficulty is real. Having to leave your table behind, to leave your merchandise behind, and just you know, be and step away for just a few moments. But it's also okay to step away from cons like that because
Yeah.
we need to recharge, and it's
Yeah.
understandable. It's understandable. I was wondering, what's the best time for you during a con? I mean, mine is when people are just setting up and you're done with your table. Tapos na ako, baga ako natapos.
Yeah.
And you go around each table before they officially open the
Yeah, yeah,
doors.
yeah. So like I tend to set up pretty early compared to a lot of people, so I always get to enjoy that like 10 to 20 minutes of calm just
Yep, yep,
and
yep.
getting to buy the stuff if they're already set up. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
that's always fun.
Exactly, exactly. Because apart from going to buy your lunch and whatnot, another thing that we who have tables around cons don't get to do is to go around and look for merch from other tables because
Yeah.
we're busy minding our own. So
So
there's no
yeah, what
time.
I always do is I always have a shopping list, honestly. I always look up everyone's
Oh,
like
that's
catalogs. And as for
great.
food, I always pack my own lunch at this point.
Okay, nice, nice. I should probably do that. I should probably pack my
Yeah.
own lunch para wala lang hindi na ako bibili.
Like it's like whenever it's convention, just assume that I have like a pack of shawmai or or a burger that I have like I ordered that a burger that I got per takeout
Yeah,
like in the
yeah, yeah.
morning.
Right,
Yeah,
just
it's
drive
like
through. Yeah,
so then I'm
exactly,
just
exactly.
after that I'm just glued to my table like until I need to go to the restroom.
I hear you. I hear you. Was How many times have you joined cons like Comic Con, by the way? And was
Quite a
EP?
bit.
Oh, okay.
So I well this year I had two conventions. Last year I had what, four ish? I don't know.
Oh, wow.
I don't know. I forget. And
Yeah.
then before that, like, cause last year 2023 was the first time I did it for a while. But before
hmm
that, way back in like 2018, 2017, yeah, I also did conventions like as a baby comic artist. And
Well,
before the plague.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Before COVID, yeah. Well, you're not a baby comic artist anymore. You're a comic
Nope.
artist. Period. Right.
Yep.
So that is the affirmation right there. I think, what reward do you get as a creative by the time con is over, and you get to take stock of what happened and, let's say, who you got to talk to.
Well, I'll be frank. Like honestly, I'm counting that money first, but
Yep. Money
but
first. Paying it muna.
but then it's like the best part is really coming home and like obviously when I'm like at conventions I usually spend like maybe 10 20% of my earnings on other
I
people's merch.
know. I know.
Yeah,
I know
so
that.
it's like always fun, like just getting home, finding a table, and just filling it up with all the prints, all the stickers that you got. It was really fun. Like like Comic at Pride last year, like because I earned a lot, so I also bought a lot.
Oh, I
So it
missed
was
out on that.
like
So,
it was
uh,
a full. I had like a full table that was just other people's art. It was
ooh,
like
nice,
yay!
nice, nice.
And then
Oh,
of course I also loved like seeing so how many people got whatever book because it's always a victory when they get the book.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It is, it is, and
Yeah.
especially when the most unassuming person who just and for you have no expectations whatsoever, because we try to take that out
Mm-hmm.
from us when someone approaches our table. Ay, mukhang bibili to. It looks like this
Yeah.
guy's gonna buy, and then we get disappointed when they just flip through the
No.
pages and then they just walk
Yeah.
away.
Yeah.
And then when someone
Bye.
just goes there who does not look like they're going to buy, start asking you questions. And
Yeah.
that's like a telltale sign of, okay, this person's interested. So, all right, I'm going to go for the jugular. Bebentahan ko na
Yeah.
to. uh, I guess that's the thrill really of that creatives can't get enough of, is the
Mm-hmm.
interpersonal interaction that we get between
Yeah.
people as creatives and
Yeah.
consumers. I was running on the top of your head. Is there anything that probably a fan or a consumer has said about your art that you still remember to this day because it made you feel all mushy and validated inside, and it validates
Hmm.
all the time that you've done for your art.
Okay, this is so tricky. Like, not necessarily at conventions because, of
Hmm.
course, I also have an online presence.
Yes.
I think one weird comment that like sticks to me is like, you know, like the music from Howl's Moving Castle, like
Yeah.
it's like someone told me that like your art is like the it's like the visual equivalent to that song, and I'm like,
Oh,
whoa.
that's
It's
that.
like it's so specific, but it's like, yeah, I like that. I
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that
yeah.
because it's so sweet and nostalgic. As like, that's always a really great feeling, like getting that one weirdly specific comment. And then
Oh.
there's also like, because I've been frankly, I've been on the internet since I was way too young, and like I used to make comics for like Neopets, like just fan comics for
uh,
Neopets. So it's always a treat when someone walks up to me and they know me from that ancient era,
oh.
like the very, very beginning of my comics journey. It's like, oh, I used to read your comics on Neopets when you were 9.
And they remember it. So yeah, it's so gratifying to
Yeah.
hear that when you hear statements like that. It just affirms your journey right there and then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You do have a BFA in
Yeah.
visual communication from
Yep.
UP Diliman. So I was wondering, was that the course that you always wanted to take up in college? Or perhaps there were other choices at the time? And for those listening and are curious about the said course, what does visual communication require of you? And what will it give you once you're done with the course?
Okay, so Viscom, it's like it's kind of a generalist like art course. It's
Okay.
like what it suggests. It's visual and communication. So it's
Mm-hmm.
all about getting the point across. And so you'll pretty much, so they'll probably throw you into like, of course, there's poster making, there's editorial, there's uh video stuff, photography, yeah, like just a bunch of that. Like I think it's if you're honestly, if you're artsy but you're kind of
Mm-hmm.
clueless as to where exactly you want to get slotted into, that's a pretty good course. It's
Okay.
not it's not as specific as like painting or sculpture, the fine arts, or industrial design, which is really technical. So yeah, what was the rest of the question
So
again?
that's a good place to start.
Yeah.
So the other one was, what does it require of you? For sure, at least you have the
Mm-hmm.
capability that you know how to draw, right? That at least
Yeah,
is
yeah,
a good,
yeah.
yeah.
So
And let's say, what will it give you once you're done with the course? Maybe, if you want to be specific, what kind of work you can probably apply for once you're done with the
yeah,
course.
yeah. So okay, so as with any art course, you'll still run you through the basics of like figure
Mm-hmm.
drawing, composition, and stuff. But what it really taught me is like clarity in like language. Like, how do you if you're given, like if you're given a poster, like the person looking at it, ideally they'd get it immediately, they'd get some sort of immediate impact for an, especially if it's like geared for advertising. It's like they need to understand this in a split second.
Mm-hmm.
So, and like, I think honestly, like the critiques, like the class critiques are really important in there. It's like just seeing how, because obviously when you're an artist, you know what you're making, but once you're exposed to the other, like other eyes in the room, it's like, do they get it immediately?
Yeah,
does
I get.
does the visual communicate?
Yes, there you go. There you
And
go.
honestly, that was like really useful for me as a comic artist, because comics is just, it's just an endless sequence of images you have to get grasp in about a split second. But yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
So
And some panels don't have dialogue or don't need dialogue.
mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm.
that's the challenge that you also have to convey to the reader.
So yeah, you
Yeah.
have to be kind of good at receiving critique. So you have to prepare yourself. And like honestly, if you want this as a career, yeah, it's like it will prime you for it.
Good, good. That's good
And
to
and
know.
yeah, you just have to be ready to also just take on like a billion like different applications, a billion different programs, and you also have you have to be prepared to show design briefs or like little presentations on like, oh, this is why I did this.
True, true. I was wondering, since you mentioned earlier on your days, sketching or drawing for Neopets, and after that, I'm sure you still continued to to draw. That's why you still do what you do
Yeah,
till this
yeah.
day. Was there anything else that maybe that you drew or conceptualized back in the day that you would want to go back to again? Either maybe redo or maybe something that you've not finished and you feel that, oh, I think this year is the best time to go back to that.
So yeah, it's like honestly at this point, it's like if I have any unfinished projects, it's literally just a time issue,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm not fond of abandoning projects. So honestly, I still have this like I have this animation from my college days that I still want to finish, and I have this whole like frankly this whole graphic novel that's like
Mm.
kind of it's technically my first but
Mm-hmm.
unreleased graphic novel. It's just I did it for my thesis, and then by the time I finished it, I was like, I'm I am a changed comic artist, and this does not live up to my standards anymore.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah,
I get the feeling. I get the feeling.
but
Exactly.
it's like yeah, it's like but it's still a good ish story. I still want to get it out in the world eventually. So
Mm-hmm.
really the plan is just I'm going to get paid for this other thing so I can finally finish this and
Yes,
edit
yes,
it.
yes. And yes, true, true. And edit. And there's truth to that. That
Mm-hmm.
when you sort of like shelve something from, I don't know, let's say 5 years ago, and then you
Mm.
go back to it and then you read it or you look at it, it's like, this is bleep. This is no good. What
Yeah,
was I thinking? Yeah. But
yeah,
that's the journey. That's all part
yeah,
of the journey.
yeah. I was like, honestly, I don't I don't cringe at like my old art as much as I know some other artists. They're like, oh, I literally cannot look at this. I will die. It's like me. I'm like, that's kind of wonky but workable.
Yeah.
It's like, but anytime I have that feeling, I just internalize it. Like, oh, if I can see this is wrong now, that means yeah, I improved.
Oh, I like that. I like that. I like
Yeah.
that kind of thinking. That's right. That's right. That means you know that that you can self edit.
Mm-hmm.
That is most important. If you can do that, then you know that your skills have sort of like you've
Yeah.
raised the bar for your own skills, so to speak. Well, you know what? I guess creativity is a cycle,
Mm-hmm.
and people who consume art rather than create it sometimes forget that. Now, that as creatives, we may not necessarily be always working on new things. I mean, we can always go back to previously unfinished work and come back to it
Yeah.
again, but with new perspectives, right? And I think that's okay for you, right? From the way that you say that that creative process does not always need to be focused on the new idea because you can always, let's say, recycle an old idea
Yeah.
and make
Yeah.
it new. I asked my guest
Mm-hmm.
Levi last week about the correlation of creation and bravery. So I was wondering, do you think that relation is lost on most people who come to cons and see all the work that artists have to offer? Because like all they see there is the finished product, but
Yeah.
they don't know, let's say, the story behind each and everything that you've created. They
Yeah.
don't know the sleepless nights that you've undergone in order to finish that product on time. They don't, let's say, they don't know about maybe perhaps imposter syndrome that
Yeah.
we artists face. So I was wondering, as you know, as a creative, is the need for bravery always should be present?
Yeah. Um yeah, you look, you're going to make your best work sometimes when you are shameless, when you just take the
Mm-hmm.
jump, when you just get it out in the world.
Right,
And it's
right.
like, and like, honestly, it's like, I'm not like, I have a decent following, but I'm not like the tens of thousands followers kind of person. But I am
Mm-hmm.
still like really, really happy, like, with what I decide to put out there. And it's like, it's like, it's nice to that over time people will come to appreciate your own perspective. So you have to, yeah, you have to be, yeah, you have to be a little brave. You have to be a little shameless. You have to be a little like uh
You have to have tunnel
vulnerable.
or tunnel vision at the same time.
Not always. Like
Yeah, 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 yeah.
you should step up, step back a little once in a while.
Mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
like,
Okay.
you need to have that angel and demon on your shoulder, aka your besties or whatever,
Yes.
like telling you, no, no, this doesn't work, or like, this needs a little bit of clarity, and like, but otherwise it's like, you should at least try to make what you like, try to, yeah, you need a little bit of shamelessness.
Yeah.
It's like, you have to have a very healthy balance as an artist of like, be of taking like, yeah, my work's the shit, it's epic, and but also like this level of being humble.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like,
That's
yeah.
it's all about balance. I agree. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I use the word brave because normally, one would not associate that particular adjective with being a creative, and sometimes it's overlooked, and most especially now during this month of identity as well as pride,
Mm-hmm.
it seems to fall on members of the community to even be braver than most when you share your work. Do
Mm-hmm.
you feel that you have to step a notch with regards to being brave with regards to Pride Month? Because as creatives, what we share may not be. That also doesn't mean that who we share it to would be the kind of art that they're looking for. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Honestly, with me, I frankly grew up in a really supportive environment. So
Oh, that's
this
nice.
is it's really nice, but it's not. I'm not. I don't. It's not really feeling brave for me at this point. It's just being. Yeah. It's just, I'm just putting what I like out in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, honestly, more than bravery, it's sometimes just me being sitting here like, I am. I want more art of lesbians that aren't like teen femmes. It's like, it's less bravery and more like, I have to be the one to put the tomboy rip up out
Right,
there.
right, right. And I hear that, and I hear that,
Yeah.
within circles, within the community, that if you don't find or if you don't see representation of the art that you like out in the world,
Mm-hmm.
you create it, you make it
Yeah.
happen,
Yeah.
right? And that says so much about the creative spirit and one's vision as an artist. Now that we know that we need to be brave, whether it's Pride Month or not, how about the medium on which to paint and show our bravery on? So I was wondering, do you feel that maybe the medium of reading comics has become all inclusive with regards to, like, if you read comics in print as compared to digital, there's no more stigma to it anymore. Like a digital creation has perhaps lesser value of than something in print, or would you say that perhaps that is a preference that is still very much the norm here in the local market?
Mm, uh, okay. So the thing is, I do like actually prefer reading print to web comics,
Me
but
too.
it's
Me
more of
too.
like, yeah, it's more of like a, especially like, I'm not big on like, I don't actually use my phone a lot. So for
Okay.
one thing, I am not a scroller. I like having a two-page spread, and I like to see how their paneling choices.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think there's like some element of like people thinking like, it's like, this is just online. This is just, it's not all fancy and trad pub. It's like it's not as great of a comic when some really really there's some really really great work that is only available online.
Right. I guess in a way it's you can boil it down to, let's say, it's a creative choice
Mm.
that, that is the choice that's open to you as a creative at that particular
Mm-hmm.
time, that, online is more feasible,
Yeah.
as compared to going into print. But I do get the, let's say, the convenience of reading something online. I mean, ever since I got
Mm.
my own Kindle, I've become more accepting of the digital format, and given
Yep.
that we cannot all live in palaces that would rival the beast's library,
Yep.
we've come to accept that there is also a need for digital libraries. So it allows
Mm-hmm.
readers to bring, our favorite reads anywhere we go, and with
Yeah.
lesser baggage. Diba?
Yeah.
That's the important thing.
I know I'm struggling with the shelf space. But
And-
usually when I love a book, like I will want it in like a physical.
oh yeah, nothing beats that. Nothing beats that,
Yeah.
because when you think about it, the books did not start off as being digital. Books started off as print, so that will always be the basic medium
Mm.
that the people will go for. Now, speaking of work, let's get to your work.
Yeah.
So we have three right here that I got from you.
Oh
Yay! During,
yay!
during the first Comic Hit of the year. Now, these would be the Kiss of the Demoness.
Yep.
Then there are also the dress that looks nice on you too.
That dress looks nice on you too.
Yeah, and your second one, I believe, which is Emmy,
And we had the
and
second
the
chance.
second chance. Yeah. So while all three of the works can be, read in one sitting, and for some, because of the brevity, it might fall under, I don't know, maybe the category of zine than a comic. So just to sort of like clear the air, in your own words, can you define, for people who may not be into the medium, what exactly is a zine, and if asked, would these two works of yours be more of a zine or a comic?
Okay, so zine is, I think zine, like it feels like it has, for me it has like two definitions. It's like one is like the actual format.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, it's like, that kind of homemade, like stapled.
Okay.
But
All right.
another is like the content, because zine to me it's like a bit, there's a larger range of what can be in a zine than just comics. Like obviously, when I think of zines, they're not necessarily just art. There's like, they can be poetry, they can be photography, like, or
Mm-hmm.
it's like very scrapbook. It can be very scrapbooky. It can be, you can put anything you want in a zine.
Okay.
So honestly, I don't mind like my, I don't mind like my smaller, like the smaller two. Like I don't mind them being called a zine. I don't mind them being comics because they're, to
Okay.
me they're both.
They're both. All right. Okay. Okay. But maybe, would you say that zine has more of the element of being a standalone rather than a
Yeah,
comic?
yeah,
Maybe.
kinda.
Yeah.
Yeah, kinda. Because honestly, you're right. When I think of like a comic that's like in the first issue of a comic, even if you staple it, I'm like, that doesn't feel like a zine to me. It doesn't have the zine energy to me. It's just unexplainable. But yeah,
Yeah. You feel that there's something more that the author could have dug up, to make the story, a little bit wider, or more, or just more. So that'll
it's
probably
like,
be
yeah.
be the basis for a comic. So for, let's say, Kiss of the Demoness, without spoiling anything, can you tell our listeners and viewers what the comic slash zine is all about?
So Kids of a Demoness is a, it it's lesbians. It's It's
Yay!
like it's lesbians. It's about an engineer who has a deal with like a water demoness to like basically help her pay the bills through
Yeah,
I don't know, like making gambling not gambling. I don't know, man.
yeah, yeah. Right, right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Exactly, exactly. Okay, that's as far as we go with painting the gist of it. But
Yeah.
what I want to know is, where did she get that well?
Good question. I don't think about it. It's just there, man.
Like, ano yan? Binili ba yan?
Look. Sometimes you're at like your workplace slash house, and then you just have a well for general use, and for
Yeah, yeah.
whatever reason, it like opens a portal to a demon girl, or the demon girl like just shows up. Look,
Yeah.
I didn't think about this was me in 2017. I wasn't thinking about world building.
Right, right. And if you're lucky enough, it's not Sadako who comes out of the well, but a demoness,
Yeah,
lesbian demoness that will grant
a
your wishes.
lesbian
Yay!
demoness. So yeah, honestly, these are just like reader. These are kind of old characters of mine, and I was like, they're gay, like their usual like forms. They're just humans, and I'm like, I just want they'll just put them in a cute little fantasy comic, like for fun.
Yeah,
That's it, really.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. But it was, as you can see here at the back, it was a finalist for Best Student Comics for Comic
Yeah,
Kid Awards, and also a finalist for Short Form Comic from
though
the
that's the same. Yeah, that's the same thing. Yeah,
okay, for the
I think.
Prism Comic Awards. Yeah. So yeah,
Oh yeah, it
I,
is.
I enjoy this a lot. I enjoy this.
Yeah, thank
And
you.
would you consider, like, I don't know, maybe going back and creating another story for these characters for Viv and the Water Demoness?
Honestly, I think I'm probably going to bring Viv and Mal back, but not in like this universe, like just as themselves.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like,
I would
yeah,
love that. I would love that.
yeah, I'll just bring them back in like a more serious story. Like, I do have plans, but they
Uh-huh.
can be weird and mysterious plans.
Mm.
So, very fun thing about Mal is that she's actually, if you look closely, she's actually like you have that other comic that dress looks nice on you,
Mm-hmm.
like the shock
Ah,
the Shokoy
yes,
there. That's
yes.
her brother.
There's a
That's her brother.
oh, okay. See, now you say that you don't want to do some world building. This is world building right here.
Technically, if you look closely, you'll see that hey, these two characters are the same. Like because her brother like also appears in her comic.
Yeah. Yes, yes, yes. Towards the end, yes. They're
So
there.
yeah,
Sort of like
that's
teasing.
just a little Easter egg. Like,
I like it. I like it. I am liking it. Um,
okay,
I also saw by just flipping it now. I noticed it then, but I'm seeing it again with more clarity. The arch at the end of the panel that Mal and Viv
yeah.
goes out from has Alibata in it,
Yeah,
or
I,
bye
I'm
bye.
I am very sure that probably means something, but I forget what it is by
Yeah, I was gonna ask you what
now.
it means.
Like, I definitely didn't. I know that whenever I put like, whenever I use bye bye in, it's like it always says something that but don't necessarily want it to take like attention
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
from the
But
main, like it's not like important text, but it says something, so I know it means something, but I forget what it means.
okay. Well, that would be a good challenge for the reader to decipher. I will try to decipher this if I can. If there's like, because I remember back in the day when Lord of the Rings first came out, there was this website wherein you can type an English word and select the particular language that you want to come out of with regards to font and language. So You'll type it, it will translate into Elvish. You will type something, it will translate into Dwarvish or into,
Yeah.
yeah. So who knows? There might be a website that can do that. Type something in
Mhm.
Baybayin, or try to decipher it from the other way around. But let me hold it up to the screen. If you can see it, that's the arch, but you can't exactly see the inscription.
The first one
The,
is ba, so that's whatever.
okay, the inverted heart.
Yeah.
Okay, ba. Okay, I will. I will enjoy doing some research on this one, and I'll get back to you if I'm able to decipher it, and let me know
I
if
will
you're.
have honestly like right after this I am going to look at it and decipher it myself.
And
I
see if
think
we.
if I had to guess from that ba, it's probably something like bayan ng blah blah blah.
Okay, all right. Bayan ng mga lesbians, ganun.
Who knows?
Who knows, right? It's an arch. It's got to mean something. So next is the second one, which I held up earlier on. The
Yay.
dress looks nice on you too, which seems to be a compilation of
Yeah.
four different comics rolled into one.
Yeah,
And
I just honestly just mashed a bunch of them for I comic at mass
which I, li-
because the
I'm enjoying it. I
because
enjoy it.
nah, yeah, thanks. Because these are because yeah, I like these comics, but they were mostly unavailable in print. So I'm like, let's put it back in the ecosystem.
Right. You do say it here in the first page that it was part of an anthology called the Pinoy Monster Boyfriend Anthology. And that
Yeah,
one it's been out of print, and you sort of like
it's
brought it, the
yeah.
story out back. So which is great. Which is great.
So yeah, it's like there. It's like the I did like the first edition. They're still doing like the monster anthology comics to this day. So I did like the very first edition of the very first like monster boyfriend. So that was like just that main comic that takes up most of that compilation. Yeah, that was a part of it. And also in the original, it's still available now actually, but
Oh,
it's
it
like the
is.
second edition. It's no, I no longer have my comic in it just because I didn't want to deal with like the compensation at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it's such an older work of mine
Okay,
and
I
among
get
other
it.
things.
I get it. I get it. It says here that the comic was named after a song by Sufjan
Sufjan
and
Stevens, yes.
Sufjan Stevens. Of course, he's known more for his work on the film "Call Me by Your Name,"
Yeah.
which is a great film. Um, what song of Sufjan would be the one that you were referring to?
That dress looks nice on you.
No, it's just that. It's just that. No other song. That is. That's the title of it.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. All right. And what the last one got to me, especially the last comic, because I see that you are a dog lover as well.
Yeah.
And
Oh.
I didn't want to bring up memories, but you wrote a tribute there for Cookie, and from one dog
Yeah.
owner to another, how has having
Honestly,
how has having a dog changed your life for the better? Because I have two dogs myself, and because now I could not imagine how I got through my early days without a dog.
so okay, so it's not actually a tribute comic in that it's like it's actually the very first comic I made. In like
Mm,
that's the oldest comic in that compilation, and then
okay.
I just saw it and it was like oh because I made it like back when she was like yeah back when it was just my life having a dog steal my bread. So it's been
uh,
yeah. So it's like, oh, she's been gone for a few years now. So when I was putting together that compilation, I saw that old comic. I was like, oh, Cookie, I'm going to put you in my compilation now.
yeah, you deserve it. You deserve it. Where is Basilio in PG?
So Basil is still with us.
Okay,
Aw.
Basil's still with you. Okay, great, great. But okay,
But yeah, but PG is also she's also God, which
The
I'm very sad about.
they both crossed the rainbow bridge, but
Yeah,
you've got additional guardians in that respect, so
yeah.
they will always be there.
Mm.
Will you probably write a longer comic series involving a dog as the main character in the future, perhaps?
Honestly,
Not
no.
necessarily. No.
It's like there honestly there's too many things about dogs out there. Like I would rather if I had to make a series about an animal, I would like be picking like the most obscure like extinct animal. I would not be making stories about dogs. I would be making them about dinosaurs and like
Dinosaurs. Yeah.
Cambrian explosion and mammoths and like things like that. Things that are extinct and things
All right.
that people have never heard of.
Okay. Maybe for stars you can like the Dodo Chronicles or something. I don't know.
No, no, too mainstream.
Too
No,
mainstream.
I am talking about Anomalocaris. I'm talking about Opabinia. I'm talking about
Okay.
Simosuchus. I'm like, you know.
Yeah. Well,
I,
it looks like you've got your your animal 101 down pat. More like 101. You've got the entire course memorized.
yeah, yeah.
Now let's get to the third and your latest book,
Mm.
which is called Emmy and the Second Chance. And reading this comic makes me feel that among the stories you've written, this is probably the most personal. And again,
Yes.
without spoilers, can you give us a brief gist on what the story is and what inspired you to write and finish it?
Okay, so it's Emmy and the Second Chance. It's about Emmy, who who makes it's about his relationship with his like internet best friend.
Yeah.
So and like how it goes wrong and how they can never forget. So yeah, it's kind of like a love letter to like I said, I grew up on Neopets. It's like a love letter to like this internet of like the late 2000s, early 2010s.
Mm-hmm.
It's like very much like it's honestly, yeah, it's a very specific experience of like going on this websites, these pet sites, these MMORPGs like RuneScape, these like in this role play forums where you pretend to be a Pokemon trainer, stuff like that. It's a very specific time capsule that
Mm-hmm,
I
mm-hmm.
lived through. So
Okay.
yeah, and it's
All right.
like it's basically about all these people that it's about people that I've met on the internet and then that my old friends on the internet that just disappeared for whatever
Mhm.
reason, whether it's just time or yeah, or like a very bad friendship breakup, who knows?
Yeah, and that's all that we are going to delve into it because we don't want to give anything away. But with regard to that, the theme of transition seems to be
Yeah.
prevalent in this comic as well as in this one.
Mhm.
Was that the theme that you started off when you were writing it, or it just developed as you were writing?
So, for the dress comic, and then yeah, from the start it was about transition. It was like I was like really thinking about like like there's this that really weird like dichotomy of like oh Sirena so pretty. Sirena, she's a girl, so she's super pretty, and like Shoko, it's like they're usually described as more monstrous. And it's
Yeah. That's right.
like I thought that it was of course I thought it weird because like it's like oh why is the guy why is like it's like kind of like the cliche of like pretty girl monstrous man, but also it like when I tried to think of it in like a more trans context, it was like it's like it's like there's some people who see like transition as monstrous when
Hmm.
it's like there are things that you want that are beautiful to you, that you want, that are wonderful, and they are not monstrous. So yeah, that's kind of like the theme. That really was from the start, the theme of like the dress. And well, with Emmy and the second chance, it's more it's more I knew I wanted to show a transition. Like I wanted to show a trans character, but I just
Hmm.
wanted to it's less of a major theme, more of just there. I just wanted it to be there.
Yeah, yeah. It's not. It's more of the relationship that the person develops because they're transitioning, as compared to the transformation itself, right? So
It's more of like it's really just about two friends who yeah, they're two friends who are transitioning, who find each other, who find a lot in common. Yeah, that's it.
right. They say that writers write from experience, and Neil Gaiman said that as a writer, when you feel that you're showing a little more of yourself in your work, and it sort of starts to make you feel uncomfortable to a certain degree, then it indicates that you're doing things right.
Mm.
And so part of the process as running, is there some sort of filter that you impose on your writing that tells you this is okay, I'm okay to talk about this is too much, or this is okay, but I think I want to save it for the next story. Do you sort of like find yourself doing something like that? It's like,
Mm, when it's my own life, then honestly, like not really. it's
not
like
really there.
it's like I feel like if I put it through my characters, I abstracted it up to have like enough distance from it. When it's once I start involving like other people in my life, then yeah, I'm always really nervous about that. Like
Hmm.
this character is like yeah, especially Emmy Chance. Like that was a big deal because I it is like the chance in Emmy and the second chance was definitely based on a real person. So yeah, it's just like a lot of like a lot of wonder, a lot of yeah. I had to be really careful.
Right. Because
Like
you'll start second guessing. Like, oh,
yeah,
what if this person reads my work? They'll know that it's about them,
yep, yep,
or something like that. Or it's more like you put it out into the world, and you feel like, oh gosh, I hope they don't read it, because they might pick up something there, or they might see something there that I should have told them before, but they're not. They don't know about it then, but they're knowing about it now because they're reading it.
yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, when it comes to like other people in my life, I try to there will inevitably be some like experiences that like
Hmm.
they're about me too that I have to include. But
Right.
like for the most part, like I want to stick to like the nicer moments. Like
Understandable.
something that yeah, you know.
I get it. I so get it. But regardless of the medium that you choose, real life will always be the inspiration, if
Hmm.
not the touchstone as a creative. And the reality of that now is that it's June and Pride Month is here and now.
Hmm.
So, if I may ask, can you sort of like quickly trace your journey as a member of the community? Like, when did you start noticing and validating yourself?
So so ever since I was really little, like there were those moments where I should have clocked that I was gay as hell. Like I have this very vivid memory of like maybe what grade school graduation, like looking at my friend with the braid, and I'm like, wow, she's so beautiful. It's like it's like, man, you should have figured it out then and there. But yeah, it's like I think I really started to figure out like early like mid teens, like a lot of like pretty regular. Like I was maybe 15, 16,
Hmm.
and like yeah, I figured out maybe yeah, it's like I was like, maybe I'm bi. What? No, no, it's not. Maybe I am bi. It's like, oh my god, I have a crush on my girl best friend. It was very. So yeah, 15,
15 or
15, 15.
16.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that
All
was
right.
like it was kind of like just kind of like a whack. Like
A light bulb moment.
it was like
Ting!
kind of like a whack because I never crushed the guy like I crushed on like that one friend. So yeah, and like yeah, I said of course by back then I thought I was bi, and like it was a little later like I was like it's like maybe it's like no, I'm actually a lesbian. It's
Was there
like
was there was there anything was there anything that helped you or steer you towards that affirmation that you are lesbian as compared to being bi? Was it something that you saw, or maybe something that you read that made you ask yourself a little bit more?
I think it's like I'm not sure if it's anything I read. It's just like really just evaluating how I felt. It's just like
Mm-hmm.
I think
Mm-hmm.
like it was very much like I only thought I was into guys because that's what society told me. When
Right.
I think when I evaluated my relationships, like how I was drawn to people, it was like really there was nothing like I couldn't see myself having a future with a guy. So
Mm-hmm.
it was a much more gradual like realization compared to the whole like because it's easy to get hit in the head and with like oh you like girls because all these truths in the past will because suddenly become self-evident
Mm-hmm.
that that was attraction to woman. But it took a little it took a little more time to recognize like that absence of like it's like oh, I really don't want to. It's just like whenever I thought of myself as being attracted to a guy, it was like NPC. It was like I was just it was like I was like imagine myself as a gray blob next to a gray blob of a man at the altar sort of thing. It was
Mm-hmm.
like it was like this very bland future compared to like the unlimited possibilities of lesbianism.
I love
So
that. I love
yeah.
that you use the word unlimited possibilities. And when you finally do embrace yourself, it's that you open up yourself to a lot of possibilities. And when
Mm,
you do, let's say, open up yourself, not just to others, but primarily yourself, uh, in terms of coming out and accepting yourself. Sometimes people feel that that's the end of the story, but it's not. I mean, it should be
yep.
treated as the beginning of a brand new book,
Yeah.
because one's coming out story continues long after you've come out, right?
Yeah, yeah. So it's like obviously I sorted out kind of like who I was attracted to, but like I didn't have a normal puberty, like knowing who like and like I was very I was very unsure of
Mhm.
myself, like how I presented myself because I felt like again I had like no identity before I figured out that I was a lesbian. So I had to go through that whole like phase of like experimenting with my clothing. And it
Mhm.
took me a while to figure out the whole gender thing. So
True.
yeah.
Good, good. I'm glad that you're happy where you are now, and that's where most members of the community would really want to see themselves in. And at that time in their lives wherein everything is just, this is who I am. I see myself and other people through the lens that I see myself in, and life would be much better for that. But not everyone gets to be on that journey as quickly as how they would want it. So for those who are still on, let's say, struggling to come out and accept themselves, do you have any words of advice for them?
Well, first of all, stay safe. You don't have to come out to you don't have to come out if you don't feel safe, but it's like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
find your community, find that space. And
Okay.
there's no wrong way to do stuff. like yeah, me, I was I thought I was bi, and then later on I figured out, oh, I'm a lesbian. It's like I had like my little femme face when, and then before realizing now it's like, nope, I am kind of butch. uh, I'm tipo. It's like, uh and then yeah, but like, for example, my I have friends, they're like, oh, I'm bi, then like, maybe I'm a lesbian. It's like, no, I'm actually bi. It's okay. It's okay. Don't stress about it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't imagine people who are out to strangle you, okay? Like, focus on focus on your focus on finding friends in your community who will be like so super chill with like, oh, you're that now, sure, I love you, man.
Yeah, and those are the friends that you really need to be cultivating and keeping,
Mhm.
beside you and your and within your camp, because friends can be, family as well. It may be a sensitive topic to ask, but your family knows about you and they're okay with it.
Yeah, yeah, my immediate family, yeah, they all know. They're very chill.
Okay.
I'm really lucky. It's like, yeah. It's like with my extended family, it's more like I am not going to come out, but eventually you'll find out, and that's that. Like
Yeah.
every single one of the books I'm making is gay. If you look into that, you're going to find out eventually. I'll just live with it.
And no one really needs to force anyone to come out before their
Yeah.
time. So you only come out when you're ready, of course.
Yeah,
Right?
I only came out to my like parents, like officially, and then it's like, yeah, everyone else, you figure it out. It's like connect the dots.
Yeah. And if you can't connect the dots, then I don't know, maybe you have to go back to school.
This is so funny because I have like a panel in a comic I'm working on that's literally just this. It's
Well,
like, yeah,
all the talk about is about, that when, and it's great. It's great that things like these are being talked about in this day and age. And if that's not progress for you, then I don't know what else is. So I'm glad that talks like this are made, and that's where you discover other people's ideas, and how you can integrate them into your own, as part of a healthy discussion. But you know what? We can talk about this all the more, but we're nearing the end of our talk, and I'd like to throw in
yeah,
some craft
yeah.
questions. We sort of
Okay.
we wrap things up. I was wondering, just like everyone else, they'll have a different process. But how do you handle writer's block, or any tips to handle that, if in case you're in a creative stump and it's like, I can't draw, I can't write. What do I do?
Oh, okay, so whenever, actually, it's pretty rare that I have a full blown block, but
Oh, okay.
it's like, well, usually it's like a very specific part of joy. Like, for example, right now I am incapable of producing illustrations. Like, I'm only capable of doing comics. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like, in that case, yeah, I just don't force it. I just draw the other thing. It's like sometimes you just need to draw a guy on a white background to heal your soul for a bit. So yeah, when I have when I'm blocked in a particular thing, I just
Mm-hmm.
do a different version of that thing. But
Okay.
if it's work, if it's work, I just do it. Like, man, it's just as my skill. Like, I just work through it. Like, I don't care how much I hate it. I've
You
learned
just
how to
draw
do
it.
it if it's
Okay.
work.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
same with writing. It's like my deadline is not going to move for my writer's block. It's getting done.
Yeah.
I just go for a walk outside. It's beautiful, and I just listen to the same track for a couple minutes on end before, and then usually I figure it out. That's it.
Okay, good. I like those tips. And yes, walking and changing your scenery will help if in case you are in a creative stuff. Is there a specific time or day for you to write? Like some people work better at night, or some people work better in the morning.
So, yeah, I definitely have my best ideas like after 12 midnight.
Oh, okay. When everyone's asleep, no
When
one's gonna
everyone's
bug you.
asleep and the world is quiet, and like your inhibitions are gone, then yes, sometimes you figure stuff out.
I Some people work best that way because no distractions. Everyone's
Yeah.
and that's also a good way to
But
open up your mind to it
I still sleep before 2 a.m. I try
before
to.
2 a.m. Okay, and then if you sleep at 2 a.m., what time do you wake up in the next day?
Usually like yeah, 10.
10. Okay,
I have a
just in.
regular I have a regular sleep schedule. It's just delayed.
Okay, all right. Wake up at 10 and just in time to guest at 11.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Do you play any music when you write or draw?
Yeah, like I said, I am a big Sufjan Stevens fan, so
Okay.
so but yeah, I usually I have like my comic playlists, or 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 I have like just I have like Ghibli music on repeat.
Okay, okay, okay. That works. That works too. Apart from, let's say, the graphic novel you mentioned that you're working on, is there anything else that we can probably expect from you towards the end of the new year, or end of this year, or maybe something in 2025?
I'm working on. It's actually a fan comic. It's not quite original. It's very. I have like a very indulgent gay trans fan comic that I'm working on. It's
Oh,
beautiful. I'm
okay.
excited. It's like I'm about maybe one third of the way done. But yeah, it's hard to find time. But I really, really, really hope to finish that sometime. So it's about two lawyers who basically they both find out that their dads are murderers. So
Oh,
you know that kind of like, so they find each other and bond over that, and they
ah,
fall in love, and they're
nice.
gay.
Woohoo! All right, we can't wait to read that. We can't wait to read it when it comes out. And for those who want to know more of, let's say, your work, current and past, where can they get copies of your book, of your comic, if in case they don't get to Comic Con?
So okay, right? So right now my Shopee is down. It's like, I've been busy, but I do plan on getting it up again, like after Comic at Pride. But
Okay.
that's Shopee/Seven Clubs.
Mm-hmm.
You see that? So
Yes. Yep. I
so
will put that in the show notes, of course.
it's just seven. So yeah, it's Seven Clubs. So uh, for my socials, like on Twitter, I'm Seven Grovies. You can whatever you can put that in. On Tumblr, also Seven Clubs. On Instagram, I'm Seven Clubs Art, though I am a bit inactive there.
Mm-hmm.
So usually, yeah, my Twitter and Tumblr are the most reliable.
Okay. And whether Elon Musk will change X to something else, I will still refer Twitter as Twitter.
That's the one thing I'm going to dead name.
I'm never I'm still not comfortable calling it X. I mean, I have this other phone that I don't want to update my iOS, because once I
Me
update my
too.
iOS, that particular icon of Twitter will be long gone and it will be X. So no, I'm not doing that.
I also still have Twitter. See?
See, yeah.
Yeah, see?
Yay! Well, that other phone of mine is being charged. I can't get it, but yeah, for those who have not updated their software, you know what we mean. Okay. Number seven seems to be a prevalent number in your URLs for your socials.
Yeah.
Is that your favorite number?
Yeah, obviously.
Okay.
Like, look, if you want, look, I like playing cards.
Mhm.
It's like I think it's a. I'm also really into Ace Attorney. So there's like a big playing card like poker team. So
Okay.
like ever since I was young, I was like, oh, I love playing cards. They're so cool. So anyway, if you can, if you look up online, it's like you have a, you'll have a playing card for your birthday or whatever. So I was like, ooh, seven clubs. That's my playing card.
All right. So that explains it. Okay.
So yeah, that's it.
That's it. All right. And that is it as well. That's a wrap for today. Thank you so much, Jillian, for joining us on this episode
Thanks for
today.
having me.
Oh, always welcome. We wish you all the best in your future writing endeavors. And everyone,
Yep.
remember to celebrate who you are and who you've come to be. Everyone's journey is different. So don't judge until you've walked in their shoes, or in this case, in our shoes. And if you are creative, you'd like to be featured in the podcast, simply email us at urbanfantasyph@gmail.com. Till the next episode, Indie Creators Unite. Happy Pride, everybody. Keep creating and we'll keep reading. Stay safe and stay creative. Namaste and blessed be. All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Happy Pride. That was another episode of Urban Fantasy PH. Join us next time as we feature another creative soul who wants their art to be seen, heard, and shared. If you have your own work to share, just email us at urbanfantasyph@gmail.com. Till the next episode, this is independent author, singer-songwriter, radio personality, voice actor, and fellow creative, CJ Edmunds, reminding you to always listen to your heart, create with your mind, and share with your soul. Goodbye, everybody. Namaste. Blessed be.